all the facts. In any given situation, we very rarely have all of the facts, or even enough of them to get angry with someone else. Of course, that doesn't stop most of us from getting angry anyway. However, if we can remember the simple truth that maybe we don't know everything, it's amazing what great things God can accomplish when life happens. The first time God showed me this lesson was when I was teaching high school English years ago. There was one girl in the class who did her level best to make my first year of teaching miserable. Besides the fact that she liked the other English teacher better, I really couldn't find a rational explanation as to why she was so hateful. However, thankfully, I was secure in my own worth enough that I didn't let it get to me. I just kept thinking, she must have something really dreadful in her to be able to do that to someone else. 3 years later, by a mere God incident, I found out that all during that year, that young lady was living in a house with a mother whose live-in boyfriend was sexually abusing her younger sister every night in the bed across from hers. Talk about being grateful I hadn't taken the bait and added to the weight she was already carrying. Going forward, that lesson has served me well. When people would do things I thought were obnoxious, unkind, or just plain rude, I did my best to remember that I didn't have all the facts, and that if I could see their whole situation, it would probably make a lot more sense why they were acting that way. After I quit teaching to raise my family, I went back to my first love, writing. However, when my first book was published, I soon learned that writing the book was the easy hurdle when compared with promoting a published book. Strapped for time and energy to give to promoting, much less to promoting and writing more, I took a friend's advice and started publishing cyber serials through my website. Basically, a cyber serial is one of my novels, published 2 chapters at a time, through my newsletter by email, free for anyone who subscribed to the newsletter. The idea was a hit, although at the time I only had about 600 subscribers. People were writing to say how much they liked the book, and then books when the second one started the next year. I felt like God had truly led me to publishing like this, at least for now, because it solved so many problems I was having with the other way of publishing. Then, shortly after sending out a set of chapters midway through my second cyber serial, I got an email back with the same subject it went out with. Figuring it was either an unsubscribe or a comment, I opened it. There, in brilliant red on black, were the 2 chapters I had just sent out. Line edited. That's right. Just like your high school English teacher used to do to your papers when it looked like she had bled all over them. It took me a full minute to get over the shock. I mean, I'm sure you have found mistakes in books before, but have you ever actually taken out a red pen, marked up 2 whole chapters, and sent it back to the author so they could see what they were doing wrong? I finally shook my head in disbelief and clicked off the message, still trying to figure out what to do with it and how anyone would have the audacity to do such a thing. After thinking about it for about 3 days, I finally decided what possible good would there be in responding or even in getting mad about it, although clearly those were options. Someone was obviously trying to take me down a peg. Either that, or I just didn't have all the facts. A month went by, and it was time to send out the new chapters. About 2 hours after I did, I got a new message from this same person. Figuring I would find another set of marked up chapters, I opened the email, which started something like, "Dear Stacy, I am so sorry. I really messed up. When you sent me the chapters last month, I thought they were chapters for my critique group. I was new to the group, and although I had never done anything like that before, I thought I needed to really do a good job editing, because I didn't want them to think I didn't know what I was talking about. I am so very sorry. Can you ever forgive me?" It went on thus for about a page and a half. As I read it, I just started laughing. It took another 20 or so messages between the 2 of us before she finally quit telling me how sorry she was and asking my forgiveness. It seems not only was she not comfortable with critiquing, She also felt horribly guilty when she even inadvertently hurt someone's feelings, which she was sure she had done with her critique of my chapters. Funny thing though, after getting to know her and finally coming to the point where we could both laugh about it, I then asked her if she would really review my next cyber serial when I got ready to publish it. It took her a while to realize that I was serious, but she finally agreed. Shortly thereafter, I received one of the most glowing reviews I've ever gotten. In fact, she called it one of the 3 best books I've ever read. Now, you might think she was saying that out of guilt. I wondered that too. However, based on the in-depth analysis I did by asking her direct questions about different aspects of the book, I don't think so. I think she genuinely liked the book. More than that, she started asking about how I wrote the way I did, and I started trying to explain it. Emails flew back and forth on the subject as we became friends. A couple of times throughout the rest of the year, a message from her would pop up into my inbox. Just wondering when you are going to print publish Princess. When you do, I want a copy. I always just laugh and tell her God's got my priorities in a different place right now, at home with my kids. So I'm not print publishing anything at the moment, but it's nice to know she liked the book that much. I consider this woman a true friend now, but I often think how off track that friendship would have gone had I jumped to anger without stopping to remember that I didn't have all the facts. It's a lesson I'm glad I learned early, because I got a really good friend out of a simple mistake I'm sure the devil meant to use to tear us both down. These things happen. It's life. But I'm here to tell you, it pays God dividends to remember that in any given situation, you don't know all the facts. 2004.
Reflections on Life, written by Staci Stallings. Copyright Staci Stallings 2005. Narrated by Michaela Acker. Production copyright Staci Stallings 2023. Like and subscribe to the Staci Stallings YouTube channel so you never miss a second of the story.